guy. I won't ask him any questions.
Okay. All right, we're checking in on the Cowboys. Very modest win total here. 7.5. Not great. New England Patriots are 8.5. Cowboys opponents this year. You got the Chiefs. Ooh, you got the whole AFC West there. That's not good. We'll start with our resident. Don't give a grade if you can, if you want, bro. Over, under, or a grade at 7.5.
Well, I'm known to be hard on the Cowboys,
course,
not
but
known as a Cowboys fan, but I'm going over. They won 7 last year.
Good point.
With all the injuries, obviously Dak Prescott being the main one. I think Micah's going to get paid, so he'll come back happy and ready to do his thing. I think he'll play well anyway. And I think Dak is going to come back and have a good season. So 7, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they still can win 9 games or so. So I think they'll be a good team, not a playoff team, but certainly over 7.5.
Yeah, I think that I'm going over as well. I think this is kind of a slap in the face to Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Like, they won 7.
Same win total as the Prince. A lot of great quarterbacks.
That's true. We're not there yet.
Even more of a slap in the face. But to have it at 7, and I get it, you got the NFC North, tough division. You're in the NFC East. I totally get all of that, and you're playing the AFC West. But they've always had good personnel that can produce in the regular season, the Dallas Cowboys, that is. And they found ways to win in the regular season. I find it hard to believe that they can't get over 7.5 wins.
Totally agree.
Like, this is almost disrespectful.
I don't think it's disrespectful at all.
Look at the opponents. You don't see it?
Yeah, yes, let's look at the opponents.
Okay.
I'm down for that if we can throw that back up there. So in the division, you have 2 games against the defending champs, 2 games against the Commanders.
I'll let you lose
and
those.
the 2 games against the Giants, I think will be better because they won't be such a disaster at quarterback. But so that's, from the Cowboys' perspective, it's a tough division. For the Eagles and Commanders, not so much because you don't play yourself and you instead play the Cowboys. Your home games, I look at I look at one of those gaes where the team we expect to be bad,
Cardinals.
and that's the Cardinals. And Greg, maybe just because we expect to be bad.
Kyler's record and Jerry.
Oh yeah, that's
Jerry
right.
World.
Kyler never loses there, right? He's in state championships and everything. And then your road games, yes, those are the Raiders, Jets, Panthers. You expect to be somewhat easy. I think the Raiders are going to be good. The Jets, I think, will be at least well coached. We'll see about the Panthers. And Bears, Broncos, Lions are all, the Bears, I maybe am higher on than you guys. Lions are obviously excellent. Broncos were a playoff team. I don't look at any, that team's going to be god-awful. Chalk it up. And I think that, oddly, coaching is somehow underrated in preseason football discussions. And they had the most uninspiring, non-existent coaching search in recent memory. They hired a guy with no experience. They did not add anyone of consequence this offseason. I just don't see why. Like, I look at the Giants are going to be able to add either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, be better at quarterback, you know what I mean, and had some money to spend this free agency. So they got better. We know that Washington tried to spend a ton of money in free agency, and the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. So I look at them as potentially the worst team in the division. I think that I don't look at last year as a fluke in that, it was just because of Dak's injury. And so I think, and you guys know, I've been the highest person on the Cowboys the last couple of years on this show, but I think the talent drain is massive.
Wow, never thought I'd see the day from Nick Wright talking about the Dallas Cowboys like this. Wow. I'm surprised by this. I think they're the worst team in the division, worse than the Giants. Okay. So, let's go through the easy wins and the easy losses. Obviously, like I keep saying for all these over-unders, I'll keep it very quick. It's not to say that those are the predictions, but let's just try to say, if we look at things on the most superficial way, an easy win, an easy loss, any of the tough games, just give them automatic losses, and any of the games that you think that they should win, just give them a win. Again, it's not to say that it's actually easy, but it just gives you a baseline to work with. Not predictions, not predictions. And there are less easy wins out there. If I'm the most forgiving, I would throw the Vikings in there because I would say, okay, the Cowboys defense is good. It should be legit. That's the one thing that we should know. And I think it'll still be well coached defensively, going up against a rookie quarterback at, on the road for the rookie quarterback, in JJ McCarthy. That should be an advantage for the Dallas Cowboys. So let's just give that win the Vikings, the Cardinals. Boom, those 2 wins. Now you're looking at the Bears. I think that'll be a tough game. The Broncos, think that'll be a tough game. The Lions, that'll be a tough game. And then you have the Raiders, the Jets, and the Panthers. I do think the Raiders will be better, but if we say Jets and Panthers, easy wins, that's 4 wins now. And then no matter how good the Eagles are, no matter how good the Commanders are, we know how this NFC East goes. They're going to win some games. It's hard to imagine that they don't win at least 3 games in the division. So then that gives us 6. And then that's where you're pretty much right at that 7.5 mark. Again, to be clear, it's not saying that they're guaranteed to win those games, and it's not saying that they're guaranteed to lose those games. They could beat the Chiefs, they could beat the Chargers, they could beat the Packers, the Bears, the Broncos. They could be every team out there. So 7.5 does feel low just on the surface until you kind of look at the schedule. And again, I as unsexy as it is, so much of this will really come down to what does Jordan Love and the Packers look like? Are they a legitimate, competent, highly run team this season? Yes or no? Or are they up and down, up and down? Are you watching Packers games where you're just like, I don't know what the heck that was? Then advantage Cowboys in that situation. At home, Jordan Love on the road, advantage there. The Chiefs, did they repair their O-line? Yes or no? Or is their O-line a mess? And can someone like Micah and that defense get after it, right? Yes or no? Although I'm still going to take Spags' defense over Dak Prescott's offense. So even with that said, even with the bad O-line, I'm still giving the advantage to the Chiefs in that regard. Do the Lions take a step back? Yes or no? Was Ben Johnson really the full-on brains of that offense? And no matter how stacked and great that roster is, they just can't put it together. Very similar to what happened with the Eagles in 23. That is a real possibility. Will they be a disaster? Will they fall and not be able to make the playoffs? No, but will they be as high functioning as they were in the years past with Ben Johnson? That is a real possibility. Again, as we saw it happen, as the Cowboys saw it happen with the Eagles. They had a front row seat in that where they saw the Eagles great, go to the Super Bowl, have the Eagles play again, competent, but clearly not as good. Cowboys rolled them, and then the year after that, they won the Super Bowl. Cowboys saw it firsthand. So that is a real possibility. So again, it's like so many of these other little things are what really ultimately get the Cowboys, in this over. But I don't see this confident, clear path where you could say the Cowboys are definitely going to win 9 or 10 games. No, I think at this point, there's too many other things that are outside their realm of control. Once upon a time, you could look at their schedule, you could look at this team and say, all right, they're going up against the Packers. I think, I just use the Packers as a random example, as like another, pretty good team, not an elite top team in the NFL, but, pretty good team. You would say, all right, Cowboys at home, etc., etc. I like the chances here. But in this situation, to me, it's really going to be more about the other teams. Is Caleb Williams balling? How does he look right now? Is he grounded? Is he rolling? Are him and Ben Johnson just firing it up right now? Or are they struggling? Or is he still kind of, holding on the ball too long, taking sacks, et cetera, et cetera? Is Ben Johnson letting him, encouraging Caleb to throw the ball more, but now that he's throwing the ball more, he's throwing more interceptions? Like where is Caleb Williams in his development when he plays, when they play the Dallas Cowboys? I think it's going to come down to many of those other aspects. So that's what then gives it a harder, over under win total. On the surface, I see 7.5, and I think to myself, the Cowboys can't be 7.5. They got to at least win 8 or 9 games, especially with Dak Prescott back. Again, that defense should be pretty good. I'm not a big firm believer in the head coach, but then you look at the schedule and you're like, yeah, Chiefs will be hard. Yeah, the Chargers will be hard. You're like, yeah, the Lions are still the Lions, and the Raiders will be better. Once upon a time, that was an easy win. That's not an easy win anymore. The Eagles are going to be the Eagles. No matter how amazing the Eagles are and no matter how bad the Eagles are, you know those games are going to be games. Same thing with the Commanders now. And the Giants, you used to be able to guarantee 2 wins against the Giants. Not so sure. Not so sure. You almost lost to the Giants with Daniel Jones as the quarterback, and that team was a mess, and Daniel Jones could not throw the ball, quite frankly. The Cowboys should have lost that game if Daniel Jones could just make a throw. And now I do think that offense should improve with like a Russell Wilson, but, you know, and also depends on, who do they draft? Nick is confident that they're going to get a defensive player, but maybe Shador is drafted, and then if Shador is drafted, then who knows, honestly. Then, are they starting him? Is it this weird situation? And now they did wait. I don't want to say waste, but they have a draft pick. Their first draft pick is not like an immediate impact player if Shador doesn't start. Then I think the Giants, you can kind of get a same kind of messy situation. And it could be a very easy situation where, you split. You win at home and lose on the road or something. But also for the Dallas Cowboys, I'll say this. And this remains true for all of my predictions, especially for these more contested divisional games. It also really, really depends on when they play each other. Are they playing the Eagles for the final game of the season when the Eagles already have, their seating locked up and you're not playing them competitively? Like once upon a time, I would say that the Cowboys weren't as reliant on a situation like that. But I do think now it's like, okay, are you playing the Commanders the final game of the season? And do the Commanders already have their seating locked up and Jaden Daniels is not playing? If that's the case, it's different. If you play the Commanders in week 4, different game. You play the Eagles in week 6, different game than if you're playing them at the final, game or 2 of the season. But yeah, 7.5 does feel low. It's which means, and then when you look at that schedule, it probably means that it's the right number. You probably really are. It's hard to imagine that they win only 6 games. I can't see that. So I guess the under then would be 7. So then they could still win 7. Yeah. It probably then feels that they really are, between 7 and 9 wins. I can't see more than 9. I mean, they would have to really be firing all cylinders. Head coach hire had to have been a knockout of the park. In the draft, you draft someone who's just an immediate beast. That defense is swarming. Dak Prescott's ready to remind everyone who he is, or the fact that, the Chiefs really take a big step back and the Lions really take a big step back and Bo Nix has a sophomore slump and so does Jaden Daniels, and now the Eagles take a step back because they lost Kellen Moore. Like, I think you would need a lot of step backs to win like 9 or 10 games, which, again, then that puts you in this 7, 8, 9 range. So credit to Vegas. You done it again. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? What do you got for them? The over, the under for 7.5. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.